Good evening. Welcome to episode 74, 3,779 days until I'm 40. Today we'll talk about counterparty risk, especially from like a finance perspective. I've experienced it firsthand. Sometimes I wish I kind of knew about it before, but even when I knew about it, it's different knowing it and understanding it. Honestly, theme of my life. So counterparty risk exists in finance or business or just whenever you are trusting or dealing with someone that you provide funds to or invest in, lend money to, and you're expecting a return. um, Namely that they're not just keeping the funds themselves, that the funds are then further being passed on to somebody else or to another asset or to, you know whether it's for car leasing, laptop finance, just being deployed to purchase equipment for the business, to purchase inventory to then resell. Um, all of these have risk of a third party where the person that you invested in or participated with, um, you know, takes care of everything, does good management, and or you can't really call it good management if you're not managing your parties, but they do everything they know to do. But the other parties cause problems, like whether it's your whoever's supplying you the raw material or resources and stuff, they run out of business or run out of raw materials to supply you. That affects your supply time and your ability to deliver. Or cross border, if it's something cross border, that increases risks significantly. It introduces political risk, cross currency risk. And these are things just outside of business control in many ways. Tariffs are obviously a revelation of that. Same thing with COVID, during COVID when all the supply chains got disrupted. So these introduce like these are counterparty risks outside of control. And in many ways, I am learning to minimize it to as much as possible. And in shifting our business, like extending car finance as we move up market, um, we're finding Bitcoin to be play a fantastic role in terms of a collateral that reduces and eliminates counterparty risk. Um, if you put the right amount of Bitcoin up as collateral, the volatility of it doesn't really matter anymore. And then you also, like, basically you are ensured that the person's interested in repaying or like make giving you the return that you expect, because they have other assets and other items tied to it that you have a claim or right upon, right? So when you put like Bitcoin at low volatility risk together with a asset in the world, um, now you have both a technological claim, or like you can take possession of the Bitcoin if they fail to deliver, together with the assets. You can take possession of the asset. So that provides a really strong it really provides a really strong position for uh, making investments more certain. Now, the risk that comes up though still for like the person borrowing or the person accepting the investments is, well, what happens if my counterparty messes up and then I can't make back the repayments and stuff? Do I lose both the equipment and the Bitcoin? um, and like I do, like, they don't want to lose the Bitcoin, they'd rather give up the equipment and sell it. But I think that's what allows for, well, when it comes to providing the return on capital, uh you can set up like another concept called like waterfall. Like, what's the senior, what's the junior? Now this is a bit of a novel concept, but um what's what's junior would basically be the assets like the car and the house, and if repoing them, or taking control and liquidating those assets helps repay the investor, great. um, and then if there's extra, then the risk goes on to the Bitcoin, right? There's And you can like structure it in other ways, like how you might want a profit share, profit split, loss split as well. Like, it's like, okay, you'll take the loss on the car, but you're not going to try to, as long as it's within a certain margin, or you're not going to try to claim the Bitcoin, right? Like, you can bake those all into place for whatever makes sense for both parties. um which like, basically it's hedging, right? And it reminds me of this really cool thing I came across of this guy hedging his bets in a really um flamboyant way, but I'll see if I can put that in later. But basically, I believe this structure is really good for the world in general. Um, Bitcoin's a cross-border asset. You have some legal jurisdictional stuff with like the actual assets, which is fine. People are used to doing cars and homes and businesses. It's not anything new at all. We've been doing this for centuries. And then Bitcoin just offers that stability. And like, in a world where there's yeah, it's weird to say, oh, Bitcoin provides stability, right? But no, truly, like, in a world where we have supply chain issues that we did not expect before, I think Bitcoin really does shine in that moment. So we're continuing to explore this path. We will see more deployments and shipping from our side in the next little bit. Excited to share that. As for the flamboyant hedging thing, came across this guy. Apparently, he sells mattresses in somewhere in the Midwest, and he offers like a massive discount or cash back to people who buy mattresses from him based on the results of like a sports game. And what he'll do on the others, and basically to hedge it, so like, that might cost, if for example, if the team wins, then he gets back, then he has to pay out like, say, 20 million. So in order to reduce it as like a marketing cost, he will then go and place a bet on the other side of the counter. So if the other team wins, he will win. I don't know if I mixed that up, but basically, if the other result happens, he will win an X amount of money, and therefore his marketing budget is the difference between what he's offering his customers and what he might win back in return. And if his customers don't claim it, then, like, he gets to keep more of that, I guess. But in between, what's happening in between is, it's like a huge marketing thing. It's like, oh, this businessman's bet millions of dollars and you can bet against him. And it's like, you think that he's the gambler, but really it's like his customers that, they're probably buying the bet because they need it. I think it's just actually more fun than anything else, especially because it's not like just between two parties and like a house winning type of scenario. But still, I guess in this case, his house is winning because he's selling more mattresses and getting really great marketing out of it. So, not sure quite where that fits in with the rest of it, but hedging. Well, you know what? This is where it fits in. It fits in that hedging helps you manage counterparty risk, and Bitcoin can be used to manage it. Bitcoin's a great hedge, and you can also hedge against Bitcoin. And these are important tools for us to utilize and participate in, um, and really start thinking beyond, like, I think a lot of people who keep buying Bitcoin, like, uh, it's important to buy Bitcoin, but it's also important to, I think, invest Bitcoin. And there's almost a stigma around like investing into shit coins and stuff, but like, do the due diligence, do your own research. But investing a portion of your Bitcoin for the chance of getting a greater return on people and businesses and equipment and areas that you know and trust can truly yield a better return than Bitcoin, especially if you're like able to kind of take cash flows in from that and buy into more dips in the future. Huge. So we should really, I think, be talking more Bitcoin business moving forward. And Kitty agrees.